My name's Andy Kahn. I'm the Director of Victim Services for Crime Stoppers of Houston, and we are here today to talk about a case of a wanted fugitive suspect for multiple counts of aggravated sexual assault and aggravated robbery. Crime Stoppers is now offering an up to a $5,000 reward for any information leading up to the arrest of Eric Brown. And let's be real, we know somebody out there knows where he is. And the public is our best eyes and ears out there. And we're asking the public to step up to the plate and do the right thing and help us get this sadistic predator in custody. Our thoughts at Crime Stoppers are with the victim in this particular case. We're praying and hopeful that she has a full recovery. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts. She is one brave young lady. So if you're out there watching, hats off to you. And we're going to do everything we can. We're going to get this person. We're going to find him. And when we do find him, when we do get him convicted, we're going to make sure he doesn't breathe free air again for quite a long time. So again, Crime Stoppers is offering an up to a $5,000. I'm giving you 5,000 good reasons to reach out to us at 713-222-TIPS. Submit a tip online, www.crime-stoppers.org. We have a mobile app available in over 20 languages. We're counting on you, the public, to get this predator off the streets and ensure that the University of Houston students can feel some safe and comfort. With that, I'm going to turn this over to our Harris County District Attorney, Sean Teare.
Andy, thank you. Rania, thank you. The reward is critical. We need to get this guy off the streets as quickly as possible. Every law enforcement agency, including Gulf Coast violent offenders, is looking for him as we speak. We've gotten new tips. Things have come in. If anyone is riding the Metro Rail, we have information that he's riding that pretty frequently. Libraries. He is frequenting a number of libraries. Anything around those areas and the University of Houston area, keep your eyes open. We also have information that he's homeless. So the weather coming up is going to be an ally for us. People that are having to go to those shelters need to be vigilant. If they see him, say something. As Andy said, we've got 5,000 reasons for you to call Crime Stoppers and get this individual in custody. It is imperative that we get this guy off the streets. My alma mater, University of Houston, the students do not feel safe. Chief Moore and UHPD have been working tirelessly on this case, and they have, he's working it himself. We are all hands on deck, making sure that when we catch this defendant, we are able to prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law. We have 3 first-degree felonies that he's charged with. Each one of those punishable by life in prison. So we are actively looking for him. I'm going to hand it over to Jennifer DuPont, who is our sex crimes prosecutor that has been working this case from the beginning. She's going to answer any questions you have, but keep in mind it's an ongoing investigation and pending case, so we're not going to get into a lot of details. So with that, I'm going to give you Jennifer.
Thank you, DA Teare. We have been working through this case and look forward to continuing working with all of the University of Houston Police Department and Chief Moore and making sure that we continue to collect all of the evidence that we have in the case and continue to bring justice through the court process for this survivor in this case. She is our #1 priority after we get him off the street. Thank you. Any questions?
I think the biggest question for a lot of people is wanting to know exactly how this person was in custody and then
Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to ask Chief Moore to come on up and speak, and then when we're through, then we'll open it up for questions. Otherwise, we're going to get back. So I need the Chief to come on up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Caesar Moore, I'm the Associate Vice Chancellor for the University of Houston Policing System, and I'm also the Chief of Police for U of H. So everything to do that's law enforcement oriented with U of H, any place, anytime, that's my job to deal with those specific issues. Of course, because the case is still under investigation, additional details would not be released, of course, because we're in the process of doing other things to ensure that we don't have any missteps. We have all the evidence in place, that we make a solid case so that the case would not be overturned. One of the things I want to make sure I share with the team is that this case is very personal to us. When the cases happen on campus, I ask my officers this. I say, what if you were the father and that was your child, what would you want the police to do? Knowing what you know, what would you want the police to do? And those are the things that we're doing. So the night, Friday night that this happened, all of us were at work. When he was arrested, I was on the scene. We were all involved, engaged, because this is very personal to us. One of my lieutenants fell ill. I called him. He was in the hospital. I said, you okay? He says, this is personal to me. I need to, get back to work. So people oftentimes think that the police may not care about a specific case or a specific issue. And this case is extraordinarily personal to her. And I'm very mindful of my word usage because I do not want to do anything to re-victimize the young lady that was the victim. I don't want to say words in such a way that they could be misconstrued because we support her. She was extraordinarily brave throughout the entire episode. She came to the police station at 3 o'clock in the morning the night of. Very strong lady. So that's where we are right now. Case is still under investigation. At the appropriate time when there's closure, then of course we will answer a lot of questions, more detail about what happened when and when this particular thing happened. But right now, again, the case is still under investigation.
And again, Chief, since you're on the podium, can you answer what exactly happened, how they were let go, how the person was let go?
Yeah, we'll get to that. So again, finally, Crime Stoppers is offering an up to a $5,000 reward for any information leading up to the arrest of Eric Brown. It's a pretty bold and brazen predator to be able to do this at 5:30 in the afternoon in a garage. So that's why it's imperative if somebody is willing to do that at that time of the day in a public place, we need the public to be our best eyes and ears out there. So again, $5,000 up to for any information leading up to his arrest. And at this time, we'll open it up for questions. Any other?
Yes. So, Chief, I just wanted to ask you, a lot of people want to know how was a person detained and then let go? Did the officers not receive the notification? What was the gap and how did it kind of slip through everybody's fingers?
I think the DA did a good job in an extensive interview in addressing that. I think he answered that question. I think he answered the timeline, so to speak. So I would suggest that everyone refer to his interview where he talked about, use the word gaps or the reason that it happened. I think that's the best course of action as far as me responding to that because he did a full interview in explaining that.
Okay, but Chief, just to follow up on that, the DA did say last week that mistakes were made in the handling of this case. What's your assessment of how your officers and how your department handled the response to this case, at least so far?
Okay, there's two questions. One question is how do we respond to the investigation? I think the officers did a stellar job in responding to the case because the perpetrator was arrested within 6 hours of committing the event. Obviously, there could have been better communication. I think it's a communication issue, timing issue, shift change issues. I think a lot of things came into play, but the bottom line, it was a communication issue which resulted in that.
Do you take any responsibility?
Just on the UH perspective about this, there was a statement put out on Saturday morning that the suspect was in custody, and then there was no notification, at least that we've seen publicly, that says
I'm not sure how to respond to that. The communications to the community, for the most part, have been, as you said, an administrative statement from the university. My role was to conduct investigations, catch the crook, and ensure that I did everything possible to make sure that people felt safe on campus, which resulted in the number of officers, the increased presence to make sure that people felt better. That was a big part of this. A lot of the communications from the university were informative. They tried to let everybody know what's going on, but those were not statements from me, as you know. This is my first time speaking about this case. And again, my focus has been, of course, the survivor, investigating the case, getting the guy in jail, and making people hopefully feel safer on campus. The person over here, I'm answering your question, okay? The person over here asked the question, do I accept responsibility? I'm the police chief of U of H, so everything that happens on campus, I have to have responsibility with that because I'm the police chief. So did that answer your question? That's a yes.
I guess if you could elaborate on what more you could have done to prevent the shortfalls in communication and also the transparency to the students who didn't know until the following week that the guy was no longer in custody.
Okay, that's the 3 questions.
Interpret it as you will.
Okay, let's go back. Ask the question again in part so I can make sure I answer your questions.
Do you take responsibility for the shortfalls in communication? Like, what could you have done better?
If I wasn't a party to the communications, then how can I take responsibilities for a communication I wasn't a party to? Then you asked about, what's part 2?
The lack of transparency to the students with them not finding out until the following week that the guy was no longer in custody. What could you have done better?
Obviously, we can communicate better. I answered the question earlier that communication was an issue, and of course, we could have communicated better.
Chief, why not bring in another agency to investigate this? Looking at state data, U of H investigated 13 sexual offenses last year. Only one of those were cleared. HPD investigated more than 2,400 sexual assault cases. Why is your department the best equipped to handle something like this?
Okay, multiple answers. Myself, my assistant chief, we both have over 40 years of law enforcement experience. My assistant chief actually worked homicide investigations. I've worked a plethora of investigations across the board, and we're much more responsive when things happen because when the sexual assault occurred, we mobilized immediately in order to respond. And if I outsourced it, there would be a time frame between outsourcing it and people actually being there versus if we do it, the investigator would be there within an hour. And I think on this night, if I'm not mistaken, and I may be, I think the investigator was already at work and transitioned over to doing this right away. So it's much more expedient. That should be evident by the fact that the person was arrested within, 5 or 6 hours. Myself, assistant chief, lieutenant, all the people that are higher ranking tend to have extensive experience. So we've worked a variety of cases, a variety of investigations. So it's not any fall off because of numbers. And somebody asked the question, I think that you're intimating about case closures. The bulk of the cases on our campus are dating cases, and frequently the person involved does not want to file charges. So we'll clear the case, but an arrest won't be made because the victim does not want to file charges because it's a relationship case.
Do you know why the DA's rape hotline was not called by officers after the arrest was made?
No, I do not.
Chief, what's the extent of training that your officers have when it comes to submitting charges to the DA's office?
I'm not able to answer that question at this moment. My officers, we tend to do more than double the amount of training that's required by the state. We do frequent training on a host of topics. I would submit our training. I think we're as good as anybody when it comes to training because my officers are very well trained. And I used to run the Houston Police Academy, so I'm an advocate of training. and I believe in investing money in training.
Any changes now in terms of what your officers are being told and how to respond and submit things to the DA's office?
I think the way for me to respond to that is we're in the midst of conducting an investigation and getting the guy off the streets. Of course, we'll do a hot wash when this is over to provide better services. I'm pretty sure that there will be people looking at what we've done, not us, to see if we could do better. So this is not the hot wash moment. The moment now is to make sure we take care of the survivor, get the guy off the streets, and then communicate that once that happens.
Are your officers trained to call the hotline with the DA's office?
The way you asked the question, I'm not sure how to respond to that.
Chief, I have a question. I got a message from a teacher, professor, I'm sorry, who works there at the university, and he said, he's concerned about his own safety, walks women or students to their cars. He said, and I'm quoting the text message, U of H security is rarely visible, and when they are, they're looking at their phones. What do you want to say to these professors who are also concerned about their own safety on campus?
Well, I get a lot of reports. I read all of the comments when time allows, so I can understand the sentiment that people have on campus. The police department has a security escort service, and at the peak, and I can't remember what year it was, we did over 33,000 escorts in a year. So we've always encouraged people to utilize the escort system. From the time you call to the time that escort is over is about 16 and a half minutes, which is, to me, very reasonable. That's comparable with Uber. We also have a campus ride, which is a van on campus, which is available for students. So if people are feeling uncomfortable, we do offer transportation. We do offer transportation to them 24/7, 365.
I'm going to step in real quickly. Yes. One more.
Okay, thank you. Chief, I know you said that communication was, something that you guys need to work on. There was a protest last week. There was a lot of uncertainty with these students. How can we improve the communication with you? Because this is the first time that we're seeing you out here in front of this case, even though it's been, I think the top priority for these students on campus and these teachers.
Okay, people have a position where they think I should be and what I should be doing. And I made this clear earlier. My focus has been taking care of the survivor, catching the crook and getting him put in jail. And I have so many requests that people want me to be here and be there. I can't do that. People think that I guess I'm sitting at my desk not doing anything. I'm actively involved with this case. I'm actively involved with all 4 cases that occurred in the last 10 days or so. So again, as a active participant in the cases, I think people may not realize that I'm personally engaged with the cases and not, I'm going to use the term, administrating or doing things in the office that have nothing to do with moving the case forward. As an example, this week I have a safety and security meeting. The student government is part of that meeting, and any questions, concerns, issues that they have, that's the forum that they utilize to bring those issues forward. So you're right, you have protests, you have a lot of things happening. People expect me to be available all times at all places. And again, the key for me is catching the bad guy and putting him in jail.
But why not put your face out there and let parents know, hey, I'm looking for the person, or telling parents at least, giving them a message, because we haven't heard anything from you, Chief.
Okay. I appreciate your position.
DA,
What I'm going to do right now is,
about Eric Brown. You mentioned
Yeah.
that he's been riding the Metro Rail and going to different libraries. I just wanted to give people information that they can use to try and help you catch this guy. Can you give any specifics about which Metro Rail he's been seen on, which libraries he's been at, for people who look and try and find him?
So to get into the specific location, I think would do a disservice. It is the University of Houston area, that part of town, multiple metro rails. That's how we believe he's traveling in the most part. We again believe he is homeless and is in that area. We have reports of a number of libraries in that area that he's frequented both before and after this incident. So if we narrow it down too much, I'm concerned that people outside of that narrow area aren't going to be looking. You know, if you get on the Metro Rail, you can get a lot of places. So just vigilance is really the message here. And I do want to just touch on one thing, your question about whether or not they should bring in a different agency. From the very beginning of this investigation, UHPD has been professional and very, very diligent and done an exceptional job at collecting the evidence and presenting it to us in regards to the sex assault. So we have at our office zero concern about the quality of this case. But you saw, even with the speed with which we needed to file this, it took us numerous days to collect the evidence where we believed that we had enough to file the case. So it's a testament to UHPD how hard and diligent they worked on behalf of this survivor, and in an effort to get him off the streets. Thanks, guys.
We just want to say that we are committed to working with the University of Houston, and particularly the students. Our Safe School community speaks to hundreds and hundreds of schools throughout the Harris County and adjoining counties and throughout the state. And University of Houston, you know, we welcome anything we can do to help you understand how to keep yourself safe and the resources that are available out there. And once again, for the media, our partners here, let's get this guy's face plastered all over and underneath his face up to a $5,000 reward. And that's the thing, that's what this is about today. We can go back and forth all day long, but right now the focus is getting Eric Brown in custody, and for that, we're appreciative of all the partners that we're working with right here, and especially the media, in getting his picture and that reward out there. We're very confident that it's just a matter of time before we get him back into custody. So I want to thank everybody here. I appreciate it. Thank the District Attorney's Office, and most of all, thank the people of Houston who are going to help us get this case solved. Thank you.